Hey, how's it going? I'm here at Fryman, no, not Fryman. I'm here at the Valley Village Community Park and just going on a little walk. It's a beautiful small park with a children's play area. And I love coming here and exercising, meeting people. I've been offering service for nail trims for people's dogs, and yeah, it's been really enjoyable. And so I met some really cool guys, had some conversations, and I realized that it's like, when you actually go out of your way to meet people and talk and just say hello, you're so surprised that it's so surprising how often you end up meeting someone who is like perfectly in sync with you. Like they're like at that same frequency, that same understanding. They have similar interests. They're reading similar things that you're reading. It's just really, really weird and cool. So I just find that really beautiful. Really enjoy that, meeting new people and just expanding your life that way. So where was I? Putting yourself out there. So I've noticed that as I've been putting myself out there, even if it is kind of for business related purposes in the beginning, you end up being presented with these opportunities for new people that you meet and new situations. So the more you put yourself in new situations that are uncomfortable or unknown, which is what we try, how so many people try to avoid these situations, is actually like way more beneficial for yourself, because if you don't, you never have the opportunity for something new to enter your life, something amazing, and you don't realize like how plentiful, plentiful, I think that's the right word, these situations are. They're like, they're not rare. A beautiful situation is 2 steps away. You just never know when you're gonna meet like someone that you fall in love with or that you become amazing friends with. And by avoiding the situations, you're completely, there's just like 0 chance that you're ever going to run into a good situation like that. And now let's look at the opposite. You say, well, what about the bad situations? And when it comes to bad situations, the chances of bad situations are much less, because people are much nicer and friendlier and kinder in most situations, right? And this, of course, takes some practice. Obviously, if you can learn to spot or feel the energy of a certain situation, then you can avoid it. And so that just takes some awareness on your part, some intuition, and those are all things that you can work on, right? Like I had one situation the other day. I saw a guy. I wasn't really paying attention too much to him. He just seemed like a regular guy walking down the street with 2 dogs. And I asked him if he needed a nail trim for his dogs, and this is something that a service that I was offering. And I could tell immediately that he was not receptive to it. He had a very kind of he looked at me kind of under his, kind of like he had a low, his head was hanging low, and he kind of looked up at me in this way, kind of from the side of his glance, this untrusting look. And he said, and he very quietly said, no. And he shook his head as if like I had overstepped in a way. Like, kind of like, I don't know you. That's what he was trying to say. Like, I don't know who you are. And I just said thanks, and I moved on, you know? Have a great day, and I moved on. So even in those kind of situations, you know, you can read it and avoid anything really negative, right? If you're not coming at someone with any hostility, then you're very unlikely that you're going to be met with hostility. But when you are coming at people with hostility, like a certain someone I know who, like, he's automatically approaching situations in a kind of me versus them mentality, you know? And so you'll see people like this where they think like everybody's against them, right? And the truth is that people are not against you. You're creating that circumstance. You're pushing people away. You're making people against you. You're creating it. It's funny because when you look at it from the outside, you can see it. But if you're caught in that drama, you can't see it. You think that everybody's against you, and therefore your energy is like that. You're coming at people with this like nervous energy, and it looks creepy. You give off that vibe, and so of course they're gonna look at you in that way. They're gonna look at you with uncertainty, with mistrust, because you don't look trustworthy. You look like there's something wrong with you. That you're hiding something. So you can't be trusted. And so in order for people to trust you, you have to bring this quality of trust. You have to trust yourself. Understand? So that's how I kind of feel about that situation. It's very much self-created. I like it. I like calling it, I don't remember who said this, but call it the self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, you're fulfilling a prophecy that you have already mentally created, and then you're manifesting it out without realizing that you're the one manifesting it out. So maybe I can discuss a little bit about how to improve that. If you're kind of like on the edge, if you're way too far gone, you're not going to watch this video, right? Like people who are just like totally in opposition, you're not going to be interested in videos like this. If they're totally in like that victim mindset, they're not going to watch the videos because they're too busy looking for problems, right? This video is more of a solution video. And so if you're only looking for problems, you're not going to be interested in the solution video. You're not going to be interested in it because it doesn't connect with you. See? So in a way, you're like trapped. And the only thing that breaks you out of that trap is suffering, your best friend. And I don't mean to laugh. It's just kind of ironic. It's obviously no good person wants anyone to suffer. But you know, like there's this old saying in Armenian, it's like if, you know, Like if a donkey, with a donkey, you can't talk to him. You can't tell him like to move. You gotta whip him because he doesn't understand. And so if someone doesn't understand with a less severe consequence, then life creates that situation, gives you a more severe consequence. The worse, the more, like the less conscious you are, the more unconscious you are, the more you fall into situations where you cause more suffering on yourself and on people around you. And the more unhappy you become, the more depressed you become, the more anxious you become, and then you create more suffering, and nobody wants to suffer. And so what do you have to do when you're suffering? You have to find a way to change, right? If you're not changing without the suffering is that catalyst that hopefully creates this possibility for change in you. Especially if it gets to the point where it's unbearable, it's like life and death, that's when change happens. Like, because, you know, or you end up killing yourself, which is a very unfortunate situation. That's also change, right? So there's this choice that's given: change or death, you know. Like, that's the ultimate kind of decision. So okay, so practically, what can you do if you're kind of in the intermediate section and you're kind of halfway towards you know, being outgoing and halfway reserved? Or let's say you want to be more outgoing and put yourself out there and challenge your fears, but of course it's not easy. So how to make this process easier? And of course it's taking small steps at a time. So you can always, when it comes to, like, let's say socialization, just saying hi to people or just looking at people is the first connection, right? Look at people, right, and smile. Or look at, you know, just look at people in a way as if that they were important to you, as if that they matter, right? So this comes to selfishness versus selflessness. A selfless person cares for their surroundings, cares for people around them, for everything around them. They care. They take responsibility for things. And so you see someone in your surroundings, you're walking by them, you look at them, you give them attention, because that attention is a loving gesture. It's acknowledgement. Like, I see you. Hey, I see you. I recognize you as someone who's not opposed to me. Versus the other end of the spectrum, where you ignore the person, right? What do we do when we don't like someone? We ignore them. We don't look at them. We don't give them our attention. So that's the opposite. So that's the first step: acknowledging someone's presence and appreciating their presence in a selfless way. Oh man. So there's a smoker right here, so I gotta step aside. And then from there, you can little by little kind of push that. And, you know, just that acknowledgement might spark a conversation. Hello, you know, hey, how you doing? Just say, hey, how you doing? to a bunch of people. and get comfortable with that. So, and as you get comfortable, then you can find reasons for chatting with people, right? You just say something, just something random. You see them, they have something different about them that other people don't. You notice this quality and you say, oh, I like that quality. Ooh, that's a really cool blah, blah, blah. You throw it out there. You see a situation that's funny. You share that situation with them. You're like, ha, and you just make a remark about it.